Hi, I hope you all can
Hi.
see and hear me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi, who is this?
I'm Badal Patel.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Hi.
going to give the introduction for the webinar.
Great.
Yeah.
So, should we start?
Yeah. It's showing that we would be live in 1 minute 37. Okay. Yeah. So, welcome to the refreshing third day of our flagship webinar series, Genesis Beyond Learning, presented to all to you all by Silver Oak University IEEE Student Branch and Y Affinity Group in collaboration with Headstart Network Foundation, GDG Cloud Ahmedabad, PyData Ahmedabad, GDG Ahmedabad, and WTM Ahmedabad. With so much pleasure in heart, we would like to share with you that Silver Oak University always stands foremost when it comes to initiate such kind of learning events, be it technical or non-technical. This university never backs off when it comes to giving a hand to boost the skills of its students. It has always aimed to develop the student in every way possible. Talking about Silver Oak University IEEE Student Branch, the first branch with the highest number of 115 members in Gujarat section, has also focused on the 360-degree development of the students. The branch has always stood upright and has welcomed all the events and seminars which can give our students extra understanding and awareness out of the textbook. Our SP has initiated a large number of events till now, which has given happy results and feedback. It gives us pleasure to announce that this full of knowledge event, Genesis, is the first event under the tag of Silver Oak University IEEE Student Branch. Once again, today we are going to have another great session. Today's session is a guidance session which will be helpful to students to get the information regarding their interest and career goals, entitled Why Tech? The Woman is in Tech, which will be conducted by very talented Miss Himadri Pandya. She was an intern at Outreachy and is currently an M.Tech student exploring the essentials of the machine intelligence and pursuing Linux kernel development. She has also been an intern at Philips since Jan 2020. For those who were already present in yesterday's webinar are familiar with Q&A session. And for those who have just joined the webinar, keep your questions ready with you so you can get them answered by your speaker at the end of the webinar during Q&A session. Also, everyone kindly fill the attendance form given below in the description. So, not taking much of your time, over to you, Miss Himadri.
Thank you so much for the lovely introduction. Okay, so
Yeah,
hi. I hope you all are doing well. And first of all, congratulations that, at this time on an evening of a Monday, you decided to join this webinar instead of doing anything else. Like you could be doing anything, literally anything, watching web series or playing, I don't know, some board games or like anything, but you have decided to watch this webinar. So yeah, congratulations to you that you are doing something productive. And thank you to the organizers that you have given me the opportunity to be part of this productive ongoing Genesis webinar series. And I hope I can share some interesting things with you. Okay, so Let me just quickly pull my slides. Just give me 1 minute. Mhm. Okay, I hope you all can see the slides now. Yeah, okay. Okay, so as you have already been given a good introduction, but I will still like to cover a few things that I might be addressing during this webinar. So, as you all know, I'm an intern at Philips. I'm also a final year M.Tech student at DAIICT. I have done an internship with Linux Kernel as part of the Outreachy internship last year in summer. Um, and due to this opportunity, I also could attend and speak at Open Source Summit Europe in 2019. And there I could meet Linus Torvalds in person. That was the really biggest fan moment for me. I'm also a member at DAIICT. I have been teaching assistant for a couple of courses conducted at DAIICT, and currently I volunteer at Core Chefs Women in Competitive Programming Initiative. Uh, I'm, I've done my undergraduation from GC Bhavnagar, which is a GTU college, and I'm a small town girl. I'm from a very small pilgrimage town in Gujarat, and I have studied. I've done all my schooling in my mother tongue, Gujarati, and yeah. So that is pretty much about me. Um, okay. So, what am I going to talk about today? Well, I really like this title, BI Tech, Woman is Intact. And the word intact has a very deep meaning of completion, right? Like being complete, being whole, being flawless. But do we as women actually think about this as, let's say, do I think that I'm flawless? So it's not going to be, the answer is not going to be yes. Similarly, you take any example or of any women who is at like any good position, they always think less of themselves. It's something very, deeply embedded in our heads. So I'm trying to help address few of the things which can help with that stigma. Okay, so what I want to talk about includes, first of all, why do we even have to have a talk on women in tech, right? Then I want to talk about women versus men. It's not a war, but yeah, I'm trying to address few important points there. Then I want to talk about why men need to be an equal part of this conversation. If you want to talk about women, then just do a separate session for them, or bring all women together in a closed room and talk about whatever you want to talk amongst yourself. Why are you bothering the men for such kind of conversations? Then I want to talk about how women can help and support each other. And then I'm going to share a few very personal stories as well. I will also address the challenges that we, especially as women, face while building our technical skill set. And then I'm going to give you a few tips that I have learned personally during my academic life, that how can you make your student life most most productive. And then, of course, I want to talk about open source contributions. It's a very fun thing to do, and it also helps you learn a lot of things which generally you don't learn as part of any academic curriculum. And in the last, I want to talk about outreach internships. Okay, so that's the flow of this session. I hope you enjoy it. Okay. Um, is Am I visible and are my slides visible? I don't see it on my screen, so maybe I messed up something. Can anybody from the organizers tell me?
Your screen is not being shared. Can you check it?
Can you see the slides?
No, no.
Huh. Okay, just a minute. Okay, can you see the slides now?
Yes, yes. Now they are available.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Pardon me, this is my first experience of doing a webinar, so I'm just struggling with the controls here. Okay, where were we? Yeah, I told you what I want to talk about. Okay, so let us address the first thing I want to talk about, and that is, why do we need to talk about women in tech at all? Like, what is the reason we even want to have this kind of conversation, and we would even bother to spend even a single minute on such topic? Because it is very gender specific, right? And in a progressive and gender neutral world, we don't need to discuss these things, right? Because we maybe already believe that we are there where we should be. But when you look at some figures, we are not yet there. For example, 5 largest tech companies on the planet, you know which five I'm talking about, have a workforce of only 34.4% of women. That means how many number of engineers are working there? Only about 30% of them are women. Women software engineer hires have only increased by 2% over last 20 years. 20 years is a very big time, and yet the increment is very, very less. And then number of women in technical leadership roles is significantly less than that of the number of men. We all know this, especially the people who have got any kind of work experience. If even you have got for an internship to any company, or if you are a working professional, you can simply think about how many of your managers are women, how many of your team leads are women. If you are a student and thinking about making a start, like, starting your own company, a startup, then again, just take a moment and think about how many of your female classmates, batchmates, are also trying the same thing. And the same scenario carry forwards to the industry. And when you actually look at number of startups, we are seeing very good ideas coming up from young minds from academia, and many good students are trying very hard and very impressively to bring some projects into industry as a startup. But if you look at the genders, most of these are boys. Okay. Men versus women. As I told you, this is not a war, and the comparison can never be fair in a patriarchy. A comparison is always fair when you are comparing two equal entities. And men and women, we are trying our best in our society. They get considered as equals, but today in this world, they are not equals. And it's not about their capabilities and what one can do and another one can't, but it's simply about the resources we provide to each of them. And the most important resource is time. And men simply have more time to build their skill set, to do better at academics, to do better at learning technical skills. At the same time, women is always burdened with social responsibilities, family responsibilities, looking after their uh, if they are married, then looking after their in-laws, that if they have children, then looking after their children. All these kind of things are heavily burdened on women. At the same time, men generally do not get as much involved in all these things, and that buys them more time. Different student life experiences for men and women. Okay, if you are a girl student and if you happen to live in a hostel or a PG in, or let's say however you are living, but you are not living at your home. In that case, the chances are that you have the possibility to experience the kind of identical student life as your male classmates. But at the same time, um, sorry, just a minute. I just got a notification. I need to turn it off. Yeah, but at the same time, if you are a woman who is, if you are a girl student and who is living at her home and attending a college, the student life experience is very, very different for this kind of girls compared to the boys who are also living in their homes in the same city, let's say, where the college is located. For example, a girl might need to look after household chores before coming to even coming to college. After going back, she might have responsibilities to help her mother in kitchen, or do any other, like, remaining chores after she goes back to her house. But at the same time, a male student, a boy, simply gets up, gets ready, does whatever he wants to do, goes to college, comes back, again whatever he wants to do. And he has this whatever he wants to do time so much in comparison to the girl classmate who is living in home and who is responsible for looking after many things at home. So student life is never identical for them, whether it comes for taking leadership when you are, let's say, organizing one event and you want somebody to take the leadership. If a boy is taking leadership, then the things are different in certain way, that he does not have to look after many, 10 other things at home. But if a girl is taking leadership, she is multitasking with her household responsibilities and the responsibilities she has taken extra for this leadership initiative and this, technical event that whatever you are organizing. It comes to participating in events. Even, for example, let's say some event is scheduled during 8 to 10 p.m. Is it if it is an online event, it's a coding competition or whatever, 8 to 10 p.m. is generally the time where families eat dinner. And at this time, girl students are generally occupied. But for boy students, it's just a simple matter of, let's say, 30 minutes of time. He went, he ate, he came back, and he started coding. It's never that simple for girls. When it comes to, being part of some team and representing your college to some other campuses, or going out for, whatever technical projects you want to demonstrate, you want to participate in some competitions, you want to attend some hackathons. For boys, simply it's just, mom, dad, I'm going to attend this thing. And for girls, it is a very long procedure. Take permission. Who else is coming with you? Are there any other girls? Oh, are you the only girl in the team? If your dad will give you permission or not. All these things are becomes more important than actually preparing for that hackathon. So we see less participation in technical activities, but the reason behind this is the gender-based roles that our society has labeled somehow. Okay, and then when it comes that, you have finally completed your degree program, now you have got a job, now you have started working at some company, then again your work life is also dependent on if you are a man or if you are a woman. For example, again, for men doesn't change, anything doesn't change at all. I believe you wake up, you get ready, instead of going to college, you go to your workplace, you work, you don't have any household related responsibilities on mind, like if the maid has come or not, or what will I cook for dinner, or I need to go and buy this few things. For example, masala ખરીદવાના છે, શાકભાજી ખરીદવાનું છે, દૂધ ખૂટ્યું છે. Nothing like that. When men are working, I think they don't have to consider any of these things. But again, for a working woman, the day generally starts as you wake up, you do some chores, maybe you even cook, and then you go to office, you come back again, you do some chores, and then you go to sleep. The chores are a very big part of women's life, and that doesn't make it an equal work life with their male counterparts. Okay, why men also need to be an equal part of this conversation? Well, as I told you, even the student life is not same for men and women. Even the work life is not same for men and women. Women significantly gets less time. The most important resource, that's the time, and women do not get it as much as their male counterparts get. But again, both the genders compete for the same opportunities. If that is a company coming to your campus, it's not going to check that if a candidate is men, then we will hire. If a candidate is women, then we will hire. Or we have different criterias of evaluation. But so that's not the case, right? It's like the same questions are asked to both of them, the same skill set is tested for both of them. But so wait, I'm not at all proposing that there should be different kind of evaluation for men and women. Of course, the gender neutrality itself means that it should be the same, but at the same time we want to work hard on part of women, and at the same time men gets things easier. It says for the same opportunity, women needs to try harder, work harder. And if we are actually looking at a gender neutral society, this shouldn't be the case. For equal opportunities, if two forces are competing, then both of them should have got equal resources for training themselves. Uh, okay, the second thing I want to address is learn the difference and be considerate. And this is the thing I want to tell to all the boy students who are listening right now, that it's not as easy as it is for you to be an engineering student for the girls in your class. I have seen boys making fun of girls that they are not, they generally uh, outperform girls in, let's say, coding skills or building projects. Maybe they have built more projects, maybe they travel more, maybe they are attending more out of campus events, and they start thinking that they are better. No, you are not better. Your opponent, and which is of course not an opponent, but if we are considering a competition, in that case the other party is not getting the equal opportunities that you are getting. It's not get First of all, they are not getting the equal time that you are getting to do all these things, because at the same time they are not wasting their time, they are simply burdened with other things that you are not. You must be aware about this thing, and you should be already seeing this in your houses. People, especially boys who have sisters, you can look at it like how your sister was studying, and how was her day in life as a student, and how it is your day in life as a student. You must be considerate, and you can be considerate only after you learn this difference and you respect it. Men can bring a huge positive change by starting to contribute to duties which society has labeled as for women. As a man, you can also wash dishes, you can also do the laundry, you can also go and buy vegetables, you can also look after the family's need, you can also look after to if the maid is coming or not, if and what is going to be cooked for dinner. There's all the things that you can also look into. And if you start looking into it, it will be less on the women in your life to, getting burdened with. And maybe then we can go towards the gender neutral world we want to go. How women can help and support each other. Well, of course, there is a lot of things that we want that the men should understand, that they should do, but we cannot make them do it. We can convince them do it. We can put our all the logical arguments in front of them. But again, we cannot make somebody to do something. But we can do whatever we want. And now this is what I want to propose to you. That be the change that our world needs. Our world needs to see that men and women are equals. And for that to happen, first, as a woman, you need to start thinking that you are an equal. If you, first of all, won't think high of yourself, you cannot expect the others to think high of yourself, right? Start thinking like we already live in this world where there is no discrimination between men and women. Of course, it's not going to solve the problem, but it will give you the right attitude and it will give you the confidence. Asking for help doesn't make you weak. This is the point I want to emphasize the most on, that please, please, please ask for help when you think you need help. It's a art, or it's a skill to know when you are stuck enough that now I cannot solve this problem on my own, and when to stop trying for so long and actually seek out somebody who can help you, and then convince them to help you and get the right amount of time, right amount of efforts from that person so they can help you solve your problem. It is a skill, it's not a weakness. You should know when to ask for help, and when you ask for help, you are doing a smart thing. You are not weak, you are not dumb. It's not a bad thing to ask for help. Let it be any assignment you are struggling with. Let it be any coding problem that you cannot solve after even trying for 2 or 3 days. Let it be a programming language that you are trying to learn, but you can't do it on your own. Either you will give up and do something else, or instead, what you can do is seek help. Go to somebody who can help you in this and get the help. Get the time, convince them that it's worthwhile to help you. And I know personally that whoever comes to me for help, I see the genuine curiosity in them, that they really really want to learn this thing. I never say no. And the same thing is with all the people who have learned something the hard way. For example, if there was a time I was struggling with C++ programming. But once I know C++ programming, if somebody is asking me for help, I would be happy to do it. It's the same thing. See, when you are asking for help, it's not just your own good thing you are doing. You are also giving, some positive emotional boost to the other person, because it feels good when you can help somebody. So maybe think of it as you are doing a favor to the person you are asking for help. And again, it's fine. You can ask a girl, you can ask a boy, you can ask on online forums, you can ask your professors, but ask for help when you need it. I'm saying this again and again. Asking for help doesn't hurt, it doesn't make you weak, it makes you smart. Okay, team up. And by teaming up, I mean form the actually we all the girls have this kind of sisterhood amongst at least, let's say, 2 girls, 3 girls, 4 girls. There would be a group of friends, and you hang out together, you maybe binge watch something together, you do assignments together, you attend lectures together. When you don't want to attend lecture, and we want to bunk this class, is also a decision generally you take with your girl gang, right? So use this girl gang to do something productive. Team up to learn something new. Team up to build some project. Team up to simply start participating in productive things like coding competitions, hackathons, internship preparation, placement preparation, something like that. Make study groups. And if you are living in hostel, I see this is a very good thing about DIICT, that at DIICT in the girls hostel we have this culture that the senior students take sessions for junior students. They teach all kind of skills, all kind of programming languages, frameworks, data structures, algorithms, how to prepare for placements. They share their internship experiences, they share their interview experiences. It's like a full girl gang on a very big, uh, you know, level, acting so well that even the nightlife at hostel, it's a whole new learning opportunity. Maybe you can start something like that at your own hostels. Or if it's not feasible for you to gather at night, maybe you can do it online, like decide one particular hour of the day, that at this particular day we all will go to these websites and start coding, or at this particular day we will for example, let's say algorithms is a course that we are taking in this semester, so this particular hour of day we'll all go start reading this particular reference book together, or we'll try to implement this algorithm together. You can team up and you can start doing all kind of productive things. But the first and most important step is to team up. So team up. Lead by example. See, if you work hard, you are definitely going to achieve something. And if you achieve something, it's not just your achievement, it's your community's achievement, it is your family's achievement, it is your college's achievement, it's an achievement to be celebrated around all the girls that you know. For example, I come from a small town. I did engineering, I'm doing masters, I got a job in some good company, and the entire story inspires so many girls in my town that they might now consider that, okay, if this girl from the same town, same kind of educational background got these opportunities, so can I. It also inspires the girls in your families, it also inspires the girls in your school. For example, you can always lead by example. And when you are already as part of your student community, okay, let's say there is some event going to be organized and they are looking for people to lead it. If you take the initiative, maybe few other girls from your class will also be interested and maybe they will also join you as volunteers. And now you have few girls in the organizing committee. And when your juniors see you that, okay, this particular event is organized by our girl seniors, in that case, in the next year when they are organizing some kind, so similar kind of things, it is going to inspire them. It's like your very simple initiative that I want to do this, it's going to inspire so many people. So lead by example. And the last point, reach out. Again, reach out for help, reach out for getting references, reach out for getting resources. For example, if you know, for example, I have some experience of Linux kernel development. In that case, if you happen to be interested, reach out to me. There would be some people who have got web development experience, maybe on your campus, maybe your seniors. And if you happen to have interest in doing the same kind of thing, reach out to them, find their contact numbers, haunt them on linked list. Hunt them on linked list. What am I saying? It's not linked list, it's LinkedIn. Sorry. Okay, hunt them on LinkedIn, send connection requests, write them emails, convince them to have a phone call with you, have that conversation, have you can read one blog of mine on informational interviews, that simply you need to send a message to somebody that, see, I see you have made this very beautiful website, I am interested, I want to make some similar thing, or I'm already working on a website but I'm facing this difficulties, would you like to have a 15-minute conversation with me? Have that phone call. You will learn a lot from it. You just need to step out of your comfort zone and reach out to the right people. And this is going to help you build the connection that is actually going to help for advancing your career. For example, if you are connected with the right people, you might know about the new job opportunities that are available at their companies, or You might get in touch with a technical community that this person is part of. So yes, reach out. Okay. Few personal stories. Okay, all of these stories are very very personal, and I think my sharing the stories with you will help you relate similar kind of scenarios that have happened to you. And I want you to tell yourself that this is not okay. Never take it as it's fine. This is wrong. This should not have been happened. This kind of situation shouldn't be there in my life, nor it should be in your life. This is not okay. I want you to now take that one moment and think about all the kind of discriminative things that you have faced during your entire life, and tell yourself that this is not okay. Next time when something like this happens, I'm going to act on it. I'm act on it in a respectful way, but I'm not going to change my mind or decision or my opinion just because somebody has behaved differently with me because I'm a girl, or somebody has discriminated in certain way because I'm a girl. The first story is about mechanical engineering is not for girls. This was a story when I was 18 years old, and it was the time when board results were out, JEE mains results were out. I knew what is my ACPC rank and what kind of colleges I can get into. And they also the mock round of placement, sorry, like college admissions by SCPC was also done. I had an opportunity to join a college where I could have pursued mechanical engineering, and I was very much into pursuing mechanical engineering. Today, down the line of 6 or 7 years, I am totally in love with computer science, and I don't think that I could have done anything better than doing my engineering with computer science major. But when I was 18, this was not the case. I did not want to study computer engineering. I wanted to study mechanical engineering. But everybody around me, starting from my neighbors, my family members, my relatives, everyone said mechanical engineering is not for girls. And I did not care. I did not care what they think because I was very clear what I want to do. But then something very effect something that affected me a lot. That kind of something happened that I have an uncle, and he is a person whom I look at somebody who is inspirational, that who has done well for himself, who has studied well, who has all kind of social skills. And there should be somebody in your family. I think there would be somebody in your family that you look up to. So this uncle was that person, and I called him and I told him that I want to pursue mechanical engineering, but everybody is opposing this decision. And what he told me is that I understand that you might be interested in studying this particular thing, but if I were your manager at a company where you have joined as mechanical engineering, and if I see that there is some problem in some particular machine, and this kind of problem would involve you to do some physical work, get your hands dirty with oil and stuff, and or you might need to go at middle of the night, I will simply either not hire you, or I will not call you for the job, but I will call a male mechanical engineer for such kind of job. So what I see is that even if you do mechanical engineering, and even if you have joined the company, I am not going to treat you equally as I will treat a male mechanical engineer. And that was the biggest shock for me, that this was a person who is educated, who has done so well for himself, who is living very successful industry life after his education, and even he is having this kind of bias in his head, and he has the audacity to say it in on front of my face and break my dreams. And this, again, this is a relative, and I think that he wishes well for me. And even if these are his thoughts, then what will happen that when I will actually enter the industry and there would be the actual manager, I be happy? And the answer was no. I will regret each and every day of my life because it will be so hard. And I gave up the idea. Yes, I admit this, that I gave up this idea because I thought I won't be treated equally and I did not want that kind of life. And this is wrong. It was a mistake. Any girl who wants to pursue anything should not consider such biases. But again, when you are just 18 and you cannot think everything for yourself, this can happen. This happened with me, and this can be story for many other girls. So what did I do? I ended up with computer engineering. I completed computer engineering. Finally, now I have entered an organization. I have seen few communities, and I realized, oh my God, even in the technical industry, we have the same problem. We are still talking about there are less women in, there are less women engineers, there are less women in leadership roles, there are less women being hired for software engineering role. So the trade-off that I made when I was 18, it is pointless. There is no much difference I see. The second story I want to tell you is about what I have been bombarded by all the women in my family, the society around me, the female students who have been studied with me, my colleagues at some point in my life, is that looking after the family is women's primary responsibility and your work is second. So I have seen the ladies around me to not take that promotion because it will increase their workload, will not go for that business trip because they can't leave their family. If they will live, who will look after the family? Or they simply can't take another initiative because it's simply going to require investing more time, and they don't have time after fulfilling all the responsibilities they are supposed to fulfill as being a woman. Taking care of household chores is women's job. This is the case for I would say almost all the Indian households. Dishes is doing dishes is women's job. Laundry is women's job. Looking after how many masalas are there, do you need to go and buy it, or if the maid is here or not, what I'm going to cook today. Each of this thing is a women's job. If and okay, there are some households who employ maids and cooks, but also even for them, if the maid is on leave, it's the woman who is going to ultimately end up doing those things that the maid was doing, or it is going to be the women who is going to start cooking if the cook is not there. I have seen it happening with me. I have seen it happening with my sisters, my friends, my aunts, and like every woman in my life, I see them going through this. And again, I want to tell everybody that this is not okay. This is not right. It shouldn't be this way. The fourth point, or the fourth story I want to tell you, is she's a girl and yet doing better than you. Shame on you. These are the words of the elderly people in my family when they want to encourage my cousins for doing better. So I was not like very good at academics ever, but I was decent, I would say. But I have a cousin who was doing even worse than me. And these are the exact words I have heard over the period of entire academic life of mine, that એ છોકરી છે તો એને તારી કરતા વધારે માર્ક્સ આવે છે, એ છોકરી છે તો એને તારી કરતા વધારે સારી જોબ મળી, એ છોકરી છે તો બી she is doing so many things, shame on you, તારી કરતા એક છોકરી સારું કરે છે. I mean, what the hell? If this is how you are going to talk to your sons, and if you are going to bombard them with this kind of opinions from their childhood, this kind of person is never going to even appreciate or accept leadership by a woman. And that we see in many industry settings, that women leading something faces difficulties more than men, because simply their male teammates don't feel comfortable following command of a woman. And the reason is this psychology. The last story is again from the same uncle. So we were going somewhere, and during the drive, he told me that again this cousin is maybe he was distracted or he was not studying very well. So what he is telling me very proudly is that, then I told him કે જો તું સરખી મહેનત નહીં કરને તો પછી એવા વારા આવશે કે તારી બોસ કોક છોકરી હશે. And again, what the hell? This is not okay. This is offensive in all manners. How is it's not a way to boost confidence or even inspire, encourage, motivate, and to do anything with anybody just because somebody in other gender is doing well. No, your words should be, look at her, look at her, she is doing well, get inspired. Not exit these words that if you don't work hard you will be end up working for a woman boss. No, you should be absolutely comfortable as working for a woman boss as you would be for working for a male boss. Okay. Or and this also happens to be done on your academic level. When you are working in a project, your project lead can be a girl. When you are organizing a fest, your committee head can be a girl, and you should be totally okay with it, comfortable with it. You should respect her equally, because again I told you, she is doing something that you can do. Of course you can do, but she is doing 10 other things at the same time. So by this she deserves some extra respect by default. Okay, enough about how we treat women differently, how we do things wrong, because that's all talking about problem. And maybe we should spend more time on talking about the solution. So the problem is, how can we build our technical skills? And the solution can be, first of all, you start considering it that you can do it. Now, I have been in conversation with many girls and boys at the same time, and many of these things doesn't have to be gender specific. I would say, except the third point, that my family or in-laws won't allow me to work. This is never going to be a case for any boy, but so yeah, that is a gender specific point. But rest of the other points are pretty gender neutral, I would say. Okay, coding is not my cup of tea. I have seen many students who are my batchmates, who are my friends, saying this, that coding is not my cup of tea. And I just want to simply ask them this one question. And if this person is you, that if you are claiming that coding is not my cup of tea, especially when you are a student of computer IT or such engineering stream, in that case I want to ask you, how much of coding you have actually done before coming to this conclusion? Is it that you tried competitive coding on websites like CodeChef, where you have been given a limited amount of time, a bunch of questions, and how many of these questions you can solve correctly in this amount of time determines a rank. And you get some stars or you get some recognition or something like that. Maybe you don't like that kind of competitive nature of coding. It can be the case, yes, of course. Some people simply don't are not that much competitive, but that doesn't make them hate coding. Okay, if you okay, this was an example for competitive coding. Now If you are claiming that coding is not my cup of tea, again, have you tried building a website? Have you tried writing code to make a web page look beautiful? Or have you tried writing code for, let's say, fixing a database connectivity issue? It can give you pleasure, it can be fun. Have you tried it? Have you tried writing code for creating a mobile application, let it be Android or iOS? Have you tried it? Have you made personal projects? Okay. Have you tried training a neural network? Have you tried writing a Python or shell script to automate some task? Have you tried it all? Have you tried all flavors of coding? And then are you claiming that coding is not my cup of tea? In that case, yeah, okay, it's fine. It might not be your cup of tea, but simply by trying one or two things, don't decide that I don't want to go for a career where it involves coding, or I don't want to get involved in work that involves coding because coding is not my cup of tea. I believe as Indians we all love tea, and I think as engineers we all might be loving coding. You just simply need to discover it. So yeah, before claiming that coding is not my cup of tea, whoever you are, if you're a girl, you are a boy, you are in first year of college, you're final year in the college, doesn't matter. Ask yourself how much and how many types of coding you have tried before coming to this conclusion. Okay, my CGPA is decent, that's enough. Well, if your goal is only to earn a degree certificate from your university that states that you are an engineer, then yes, a decent CGPA is enough. But if you really want to become a good engineer, a decent CGPA is not enough. I would say doesn't matter at all. Yes, CGPA doesn't matter at all. I would say it again. What matters for a good engineer is that how technically skilled you are. So again, when you are happy about your good CGPA, and I have seen many people who are maybe toppers in their batch, they are getting 9, 10 CGPA, but they actually sometimes cannot even write a single line of code properly. So if you are that person, you need some serious introspection. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I will not take my academics seriously, and CGPA doesn't matter at all, so I'm not going to study at all, I'm not going to attend lectures, I'm not going to prepare for exams, I will simply go and build projects or do competitive coding. Then again, you are wrong. The academic system is there for a reason, and you should always respect it. Okay, my family or in-laws won't allow me to work. I have seen many girls in my batch that who do not work on their technical skills because they are simply not motivated, as they know that their family is never going to allow them for working. For many families, the reason is security issues, that they don't want their girls to move out to a new strange city. They don't want them to live on their own because terrible things are happening across the country. Again, this is not okay. Your family or in-laws simply should not be pressurizing you for doing this, but again, it's your call to take this battle or not. If you really really want to work, you have to take this fight to convince your family or in-laws that they ultimately allow you for working. But if you are a person who do not want to take this fight, again, this is totally on you. If you want to take this fight or not, I'm not at all provoking you to take this fight, but at the same time, just because you don't want to take this fight, you should not give up on your desire to be independent, financially independent, and contributing to technical industries or doing engineering jobs. Find a middle ground where you can convince your family. So it's like you bargain a little and they bargain a little, and you ultimately uh, agree on one thing that works for both of you. For example, most of the families has this constraint that they don't want the girls to go out in other city, or they simply don't want them to go out on day-to-day basis for doing a job. In that case, consider doing remote jobs. They exist, there are plenty of them, and they pay really well. Now I'm telling you this, if this is your story, that you are not motivated for building your technical skills, you are not learning coding, you are not being proactive about your life as an so your career as an engineer, just because you have family or in-laws issues, in that case, I simply want to tell you this, that remote jobs exist, you can do it. And even after knowing this, if you are not doing this, that means simply you actually don't want to do it. You are simply blaming it on the family or other circumstances. It's a problem on your end. Okay, this may sound harsh, but yeah, you need to take the responsibility. As I told you, life for women in tech, in tech is not easy. Life of a woman engineer is not easy, but we are in it, so we are also in for the hardship. And I think the hardship will make us even better. um, okay, the next thing is I want to go for non-technical job, so I don't need to learn coding. Well, generally we tend to agree with this line, that okay, if you are not going to be a software engineer, if you are not going to be an application developer, if you are not going to work as in any technical company where you actually need to write some, at least some lines of code, it's fine if you don't pay attention to your coding skills. But I would again like to tell you that coding is not just for getting jobs or getting, um, let's say, good placements, or building projects, or actually doing some technical thing. When you code, it's like making your brain to train around solving problems. It gives you problem solving skills, analytic skills. It makes your logic stronger, better. It gives you an eye that you like solving problems. And if you are going for any non-technical job, if you have this appetite of solving problems, you are going to do a great job regardless of whatever job you are doing. So learn coding for getting the attitude of what coding brings you, uh, to your mind. Okay, the last point is I want to hone my technical skills, but I don't know how to do it. Well, let me tell you this. If you are watching this, I assume you have got a smartphone or a laptop and you know how to get connected to internet. If you have these three things, there is not a single thing in this world which can stop you from working on your technical skills. Let it be learning a new language, let it be learning a new framework, let it be learning uh, let it be learning about data science or machine learning, or it can be anything. Whatever you want to do, if you have got good internet connectivity and a device from where you can work on these things, you are sorted. I don't know how to do it has just one answer, that you are not yet motivated enough to do it. You can do a simple web search on how to learn C++ programming, and there you go. You get list of, let's say, 10 websites which are teaching C++ programming for free. There are courses. You can reach out to your seniors, your alumni, the people working in tech communities, who are all the time organizing the skill building sessions. It's simply that you just need to decide what you want to do. And again, you cannot simply sit on a Sunday evening and decide, okay, I want to become a web application developer. No, it doesn't happen like that, right? You have to go attend some, let's say, workshops or take some courses, actually try building something on your own, and then make the judgment that do I enjoy loving this? Sorry, do I love building this, or do I enjoy building this? And if the answer is yes, then you want to become a web application developer. So first of all, try as many things as you can. Go to some Android app development workshop. Go to some website building workshop. Go to learn introduction of machine learning kind of event series wherever they are doing it. If they are doing on your campus, well and good. Go and attend it. And if they are not doing on campus, then go to other campuses where they are doing it, or simply attend the online courses where they are teaching it for free. Try few things and then decide what you want to do, and then it's all about how to find the right people from whom to seek help, from whom to seek guidance, and how to find good project ideas, and all these things. Simply do a good web search and you are sorted. Okay, how to make the most out of your student life. Okay, I see a question. So just a minute, I'm taking a moment to read it. It's about Outreachy internships and Linux kernel, and I will be talking about it in a minute. Just after I finish this slide, if you allow me to do that. Okay. How to make the most out of your student life. And before I talk about anything for this particular topic, let me tell you, I don't see myself as a student who utilized her time the most. The way I see, there are so many things I could have done when I was doing my bachelor's. There are so many other things that I could have done while I was doing my master's, but it's like you learn the best from your mistakes. But if but I would say you are a smarter person if you learn from somebody else's mistake. So whatever I'm telling you here is from the things I have observed from people who have done better than me, and the things that I have tried myself and it has worked out well for me. Point number one, attend lectures and labs. I can see a frown coming on your face that what am I talking. Let us admit it, most of us don't like going to college lectures, and we generally don't enjoy the labs we perform, but that's fine. You don't have to like it in order to do it. Some things are just important because they are supposed to be done. While going to lectures, you can learn two things. First, the lecturer is amazing, the person is presenting the content very interestingly, you are interested in the subject, and it's like a win-win situation. You really enjoy that kind of lectures. That's fine, then you are of course going to attend the lectures. But let's say you really don't like the lecturer, or there is some things that the lecturers are not very, like that the lecturer is not able to convey things well regarding the subject matter they are teaching, then you don't enjoy this kind of lectures. But at that time, if you attend this kind of lectures, you learn how not to take lectures. For example, if there is a professor who is not very good at you know conveying the subject matter, by observing him or her, you are learning that this is not the right way to do it. And then there is a second thought that comes to your head that if I were that, I was happened to be there, how can I improve? And at some point in your life, you are going to be there. Of course, if every one of you are not going to be professors, but you will be conducting your team meetings, you will be interacting with your juniors, you will be giving talks, you will be like that. At some point in your life, you will be included, like a part of some sort of public speaking activity. And if you have consciously observed the people who are not so great at it, that you have learned enough lessons from others mistakes. For example, right now, if you are thinking this is not a good way to conduct a webinar, she should not be talking like this but like this, in that case, even if you are not really enjoying this thing, you are learning something. So that's also, I would say, go to lectures to attend subject, to learn the subjects. Go to lectures if you love the professors, if you love how the way you are, sorry, they are teaching you. And also go to lectures to get some positive criticism points in your head that this is not how something should be done, but it should be done in this way. And of course, attend your labs. Your labs are so important. It's the only practical part of your academic life that is actually going to help you in your technical career. So when you are learning computer networks, and on the next day, if you are performing a socket programming lab in your lab setup, now that is the whole cycle, that is the true learning circle completed. But if you don't go to lab and if you are not attending it, or maybe if you are going to lab but you are not performing the practicals on your own, in that case you are missing out. If you are not taking your academics seriously, and if you are not taking the initiative, if you are not being proactive in learning the practical parts of the courses, the loss is on you. You have got just 4 years to stay in this college and learn everything that you can, and then you are supposed to get your hell out. The college stands, it's still going to be there, it's still going to do the things how they are doing it. If you learned or not, there is no loss on the college or the faculty or the management's end. All the loss, it's on your end, it's on your part, it's your loss. So if you're not attending lectures, if you are not doing your labs properly, if you're compromising on your academics, nobody is losing anything, nobody cares, it's you who are losing. So take your academics seriously and take your practicals very, very seriously. Okay, read, create, and code. Read. First thing is the reference books, the textbooks that you are supposed to read for your courses. And this textbooks, if you ever feel that reading reference books or books is waste of time, I just have got one advice for you, that just take the name of that author, do a web search. Who is this person that has written this book, and are you qualified enough to say that reading his work or the knowledge he is sharing you via this book is waste of time? If you are convinced that you are smarter than the author, you are smarter than the book, then maybe reading the book is waste of time. But if that is not the case, then you should read the book. Okay, maybe you don't like reading books. In that case, you can go and read blogs. Okay, it's also a very good learning material. Let's say you are trying to understand one particular algorithm. Let's say you are trying to learn quicksort. Okay, let us take a sorting algorithms example. You are trying to learn quicksort. You went to this book, Corman, you tried reading it, you did not enjoy it, you did not understand it, that's fine, and then you are deciding this is waste of my time. Instead, go to, let's say, websites like Geeks for Geeks or Hacker Earth, where they have very good explanations of all these kind of things. There are very good software engineers who are writing daily blogs on all kind of data structures and algorithms that they feel are important in industry. So find this kind of people, their blogs, and read it. It would be like 1 or 2 pages long. If you measure the size of the blog in terms of A4 size pages, then yeah, it should not take you more than 10 to 15 minutes to read a blog, and then you are sorted. The other thing I want you to read, I want to encourage you to read, are the research papers. Initially, it might happen that you don't understand anything, but read it again and again and again, and you will learn something. So yes, read it again. If you are not going to read, um, it's not anybody's loss, it's just your loss. For example, there is a research paper on how convolutional neural networks work. If you choose to go and read it, you know well about CNNs. If you don't read it, loss is on your part. You know less than a person who has read that paper. And ultimately, there would be the case that when you end up getting a job at some industry, maybe your teammate is the person who chose to read this paper, and now he is simply doing a better job because he knows the things internally so well. He knows the math is behind that. He knows every minor detail because he has actually taken the made the effort and go and actually learn about it from the proper resource, that is the research paper for a CNN. So yeah, read. Don't don't be lazy about reading. Read. The more you read, the more you learn. And okay, if you are not interested in even, let's say, reading books, reading blogs, that's fine. Reading technical books, I mean. In that case, go and read stories of people who have done something really significant in technical industry. For example, go and read how Linus Torvald built Linux. Go and read how Mark Zuckerberg came up with this idea of building a website which connects people with each other, and go and read what he has done. Go and read how Bill Gates came up with the idea of Microsoft and how he established such a big empire. Go and read, let's say, how I forgot this book, but yeah, for example, the creator of C language. Go and read his book, not the C ANSI C programming in C kind of book, but the book on the creator himself. What kind of engineer he was, where was he working, why he thought this that this new kind of language is necessary, and how did he work around it, and how this C language became so popular. You can learn the more about, okay, so yeah, the point is go and read about computer science history. That is also one kind of reading that is going to help you in some way. Okay, second thing is create. By create, I mean maybe you can create projects. Maybe that means you can create websites, Android application, iOS application, some machine learning algorithms, this and that, all kind of technical things. But if it's not your uh, first priority, but it should be your first priority, but let's say it is not, then go start creating blogs, go start creating technical tutorials. For example, if you are a second year or third year student and you know C++ programming well, simply go and start making videos for your juniors, or simply start going to your juniors and start teaching them, or simply be open enough so that you can create this channel of communication with your juniors that they can come to you and ask for doubts. Create has so many words. So create something that is productive and which is helpful to you in building your skills. And the last thing is code. Yes, you have to do programming if you are a computer IT engineer. There is no eluding from that. You cannot escape from it. You have to do it. Otherwise, there is no point of being a computer or IT engineer. So start coding. As I told you, if you don't enjoy competitive programming, that's fine. Code on some, write codes for your some of your projects. Okay, participate in hackathons, coding competitions, student clubs, fest organization. You will learn so many things of each of these experiences. When you are on campus, try to make the most out of it. And I see your college has a really nice functioning IEEE wing, so they are also organizing so many things for you people. Attend it and learn from it, and you also start taking initiatives for doing such kind of things, like maybe bring some speakers from industry and ask them to conduct session on particular skill building. For example, bring somebody to teach you all Node.js, let's say, things like that. And yeah, participate in your fest organization. The managerial skills are so important that at some point in your time you are going to need it. So it's a very good idea to learn while you are on campus. When you manage committees, when you organize events, you learn these things, and these are very crucial learnings for your student life. So just don't be a passive student. Start participating in as many things as you can. And last point, visit other campuses, network with students from other institutes. If your institute happens to be doing quite well, yes, you are kind of sorted already. But again, in that case, you should still try to communicate and network with students from the institutes which you consider are better than yours. You are going to learn a lot. You should also visit their campuses. For example, in Gujarat, we have IIT Gandhinagar, we have DIICT, and if you are willing to travel across the states, in that case, you can go and attend technical events at other IITs, NITs. Yeah, we have NIT Surat. So grab the opportunities when they are organizing something and try to go there, network with their students, learn from something their environment, and bring that back to your campus and try to improvise in what you are already doing. Okay. Um, Now I can address Muskan Bharucha's question, and that is about how can I prepare for Outreachy and how can I get started with Linux kernel. Before you think about Outreach internship, I would say think about getting started with open source contributions, because Outreach internship program is targeted for open source organizations. And if you have already got some good open source contributions, your chances of getting selected increases significantly. So let us address first that how can you get started with open source contributions. So the first step I would say is start using open source software, because once you are starting, once you are using some product, then you also see the product from a user's perspective. For example, let's say you start using Mozilla as your sorry Firefox as your web browser from Mozilla, and as a user you think that okay, this kind of feature should be there in my browser. I want to do these things, but yet there is nothing that can help me to do this how the browser has been built. In that case, that can be your first contribution that you are making add-on for your Firefox browser. Second thing is, before starting to work on any of such contributions, you must know how to use the tools like Git and GitHub. It's the way you communicate with the code base of this actual product, the actual project, the actual software. If you want to make any changes, if you want to fix any bug or like anything, you just first need to understand how what you are working on can be merged with what has already been there. So for that, you must need to learn Git and GitHub. And then for getting started, the blog post by GSOC and Outreach interns are very, very useful. Why these things are useful? Because first of all, these two programs offer internships for our, open source organizations, and again, the projects they have selected are the kind of projects that they want the newcomers to work on. In that case, the newcomers who have actually worked on those projects have already taken this route that you are trying to figure out, that how to make this first contribution, how to find the first bug fix, or how to find the open issue, all these kind of things. In order for them to get selected, they had done all these things, and via their blog posts you can also learn about how did they do it. It's like learning from what they have done and then doing it for yourself. For example, if you are reading a blog post from, again, I will take the same example of Mozilla as an organization. If you are reading a blog post of some intern from Mozilla, in that case, that blog describes that how she found this issue, how she made this contribution, with whom she contacted, what is the procedure for making a contribution in this community. There might also be some links from where you can actually see the actual description. Generally all the open source projects keep a page for beginners, that this is how we do work in our community. If you want to contribute, you also need to adhere to this guideline. Then the second thing is apply for open source internships. Now GSOC and Outreach are very, very competitive programs, but even just this experience of applying for these internships gives you a very good idea of how open source communities work. For example, you are applying for Mozilla for an internship from this any of this internship programs. You might okay, let's say you might not get selected for some reason, but again, by just process of applying, you know the members of this community, you get familiar with the code, you also get the all the properly documented links of how to do this, how to do that. So even if this is not the time when GSOC or Outreach rounds are ongoing, still if this is a good time for you to get started with open source contributions, in that case this is the time you should be doing your research, your homework, that how to do these things. And you can also have a look at previous GSOC and Outreach projects, because it will also give you some very good insight of what kind of work is done in what kind of communities. It will help you decide with which community you want to work with. Okay, and then you need to learn how to find beginner friendly issues to get started. And how to find these beginner friendly issues? It just needs one good web search. Simply, if you want to get started with, let's say, Linux kernel development, just go do a Google search that how to get started with Linux kernel development, and you have got all the resources you need. The second step you might want to take is go and actually reach out to somebody who has done Linux kernel development. For example, anybody who is interested in pursuing Linux kernel development for as a beginner, I would be happy to help. As I told you about Mozilla, there are interns from Mozilla, there are interns from Fedora, all kind of this open source communities to whom you can reach out. In that case, the first thing is you need to decide which community you want to contribute to. The second thing is decide, learn first of all on your own how things work for this community by reading the blog post of GSOC Outreach interns, the community's own guidelines, and then the next step would be go and talk to the people who are actually working in it. And yeah, that's how you get started. Okay, and okay, and now just a minute. Okay, and I think I am done with my slides here. These are some references that I would like you to check out if you are interested in any of the things I have been talking about. Okay, and now we can take questions. And I already have uh, two questions already. Yeah, first is how can I prepare for Outreachy? Muskan, the answer is you need to go and read everything that is available on Outreachy's website. How can I get started with Linux kernel? Again, there is a website named kernelnewbies.org. And on the references slide, I have mentioned my blog link where I have written a very in-depth description of how I could get started and how anybody can get started. Go and read that, and I think it should answer most of all the doubts you are having about Outreachy or Linux kernel. Dhruvi Shah is asking, what hurdles did you face as a woman in your professional life? When it comes to working at where I am working right now, I don't see any discrimination that people are treating me differently. That is never the case. All my male and female colleagues treats me, equally. But when it comes to managing my time, except the time I spend for work, yeah, the hurdles are the time management because there are few things that I need to take a look after just because I'm a girl. That is the hurdle I personally see in my life. And how was your experience meeting Linus Torvald? It was a full fangirl moment for me. It is like, if you can see, I don't know, but yeah, that there is this piece of paper hanging over here. That is his autograph that I have got while I met him, and I have stick there on my board so that I can get a daily inspiration. Um, he so when I could meet him, it was after his talk at Open Source Summit, and it was like so many people were lining up to have his autograph, to have a selfie with him, to have a quick chat. So it was very crowded, so it's not like I could have one-to-one proper conversation for a long time. But yeah, we had the conversation that, hi, I am this and I would like to get your autograph, and would you mind having a selfie with me? Yeah, this kind of things I could talk to him, but it was pretty amazing. Okay, any more questions? Okay, I don't see any more questions, so should we end the session
Yeah,
then?
Yeah, looks like we are good to go. Yeah, there's one more question.
Okay. I am preparing for DIICT for for my masters, so I would love that if you guide me for that. Trusha, I would tell you that before you make up your mind for getting a master's from DIICT, first go and have a look at what things have been recently changed for the master's program. If that works for you and if you are still interested, in that case, as you might already know, DIICT gives admissions on based off your GATE score, and in that case, you just need to do well in GATE. And I last year the cutoff for machine learning major was pretty high. So I would say if you really want to get into DIICT, you should have good GATE score. In that case, really work hard for your GATE preparations and end up getting good score. In that case, yeah, you should be able to get an admission. If you have any more questions, you can reach out to me later on LinkedIn, or you can write to me on my email address. Then we can have discussion if you want. Okay.
Yeah, looks like we are good to go. So,
Okay.
uh, thank you so much. It was an excellent session, and it surely justifies efforts and knowledge. And for that, we would like to express our deep gratitude to you. It has been a great factual session, and it won't have been possible without our enthusiastic participants. This event has been very inspiring, especially for the girls to frame their career in a technical field, in a non-technical field. And we would also like to thank our community partners. So GDG Ahmedabad, GDG Cloud Ahmedabad, PyData Ahmedabad, WTM Ahmedabad, and Headstart Network Foundation. Because this event wouldn't have been take place without their collaboration. And how can we forget to show our gratitude to the officials of Silver Oak University? So, heartily thanks to the management. We wholeheartedly thank the provost, Silver Oak University, Dr. Saurin Shah sir, our FBC faculty branch counselor, Dr. Satvik Khara sir, and greatly thanks to the faculty coordinators and the whole IEEE student branch team, without whom this event would have been possible. So now let us all make a embark on our dream career and advance on it by attending tomorrow's webinar also with the same energy level. So thank you so much and stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.